Alright guys, welcome back to the Pocket Mads channel. It's Maddie here. Guess what? The entire set list, the card list for the new mini set, or I guess upcoming expansion, is whatever it's called, Fantastical Parade, has been fully leaked here over on the Discord. Shout out to the Discord, link to join down in the description below. But yeah, the full set list is out over about a day before the set releases, which is pretty interesting. I'm talking quietly because it's nighttime. I don't want to wake everybody up. I'm also wearing a hat, so go ahead, deal with it. This will be a spoiler video, and guess what? This is going to be likely a very long video, and I'm recording this at 10 p.m. right now. So let's just dive right into it here. We're going to start off with the trainer cards because this is really the first thing that everybody should be looking at as my cat is climbing up on my desk. That's great. Very candid video here. It's just going to be a long one. I'm just going to sit here and record for a couple hours. So have some fun here. Maybe not a couple hours, but it'll be a long time. Anyway, these are all of the trainer cards coming, which to me seems like more trainer cards than we would typically get in a mini set. So I feel like we're dealing with something in the middle here. It's not a mini set, but it's not like a multi-pack set. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, we are getting a new fossil card here. The top is going to be cut off here, but you'll be able to see it. The top row here, the top's going to get cut off. Don't worry about it. Can I? Actually, I can't. Never mind. There we go. I fixed it. Okay, jaw fossil. Let me adjust the window here, guys. Just bear with me. You know how great this goes, right? Real time. Very professional, Maddie. Anyway, here we go. Jaw fossil is the item card here. So a 40 HP basic. Basically, we are getting Tyrantrum here. We'll cover it later. There's jaw fossil. Next up, right here is Lucky Ice Pop, guys. Lucky Ice Pop. Let's read this card for a minute, okay? Why don't we... Sorry, I'm going to also move the mic. Let's read this card. Heal 20 damage from your active Pokemon, so this only works for the active. That is the distinction here besides Potion. If you healed any damage this way, flip a coin. If heads, put this Lucky Ice Pop into your hand instead of the discard pile. So this effectively means that this is a potion only for the active Pokemon, but potentially we can use it multiple times in a row. You're inevitably going to get lucky sometimes, and he'll be able to use Lucky Ice Pop, 4, 5, 6 times in one turn and just heal a bunch of HP. So this is going to be really annoying. This is actually going to be a really good card just for various different decks. It's basically, I'm trying to think about it, it's almost like Team Rocket Grunt or like Misty's, and a type of card like that where sometimes people just get super lucky on coin flips and then they win the game. This is going to be a type of card like that. Like sometimes healing for 80, 100 damage, if you get really lucky, is going to be the difference between winning or losing. So this might be a card really worth playing. Keep in mind, it only works for the active spot, but this is effectively, in many ways, like a power creeped potion card. This is going to be really annoying in a lot of different ways. We're also getting Sail Fossil, so we are also getting Auroras. Is that how you say that fossil Pokemon? We'll take a look at the Pokemon later. Next up, guys, look at these tool cards. We've already seen Metalcore Barrier, but look at this, guys. This is a big one here. Protective Poncho. Praise the Pokemon Pocket gods here, aka Dina. Let's read Protective Poncho real quick. As long as the Pokemon this card is attached to is on your bench, prevent all damage done to that Pokemon by your opponent's attacks and abilities. Okay, my cat is going crazy. Attacks and abilities. So yes, guys, they gave us a tool card that protects our Pokemon from Greninja Water Shuriken pings. This is a massive, massive, massive deal. Now, it's pretty specific, right? So we have to attach this to a Pokemon. We also have to draw into it. There are ways to search for tool cards, but inevitably, this is going to be very, very good in decks that are just entirely hard countered by Greninja Cyrus. And there's quite a few of them. I mean, if Greninja decks remain at the very forefront of the meta, you could see this card maybe slotted in as like a 1 or 2 of to basically kind of protect a bench Pokemon while you set it up. The main example that I can think about here is in Mega Blastoise. Mega Blastoise, realistically, is a Pokemon that is obscenely strong, and there's actually a lot of easy ways to get a bunch of water energies on Mega Blastoise, and now we actually just have a card that is going to guarantee it's never going to be able to get brought up into the active spot unless it gets Sabrinaed or something, which is a really big deal. So you could play Protective Poncho with your War Turtles and your Squirtles or whatever, and just keep them on the bench, pile up energies onto them after 3, 4, 5 turns. By the time we come in with Mega Blastoise, if we have enough energies to use that attack, which I think is 6 energies, it's still a bit of a high roll card, but you're going to be able to sweep through your opponent. There's nothing in the game that's going to stop that fully powered up Mega Blastoise. So Protective Poncho, a bit of a specific card. We would have liked to seen something a little bit more general, a little bit easier to splash into your deck lists, but a very, very nice counter. The only thing, literally guys, the only thing in Pokemon Pocket right now that will protect you in counterplay, Water Shuriken Greninja, which is really cool to see. It took quite some time here. Maybe not the best card for that, but a very, very interesting tool card that, you know, will see some play. Like, again, there are scenarios, there are decks that just hard lose. Like, I could see you playing this, like, if you're playing an Indeedee deck, and then just you could attach this to your Indeedee on the bench, and you never really have to worry about it getting Greninja up into the active. Like, a card like this, even if it sees niche play in the metagame, it might be enough to just sort of deter Suicune and Greninja from being, you know, the most played and the most broken deck in the entire game. So I find that to be very interesting. Protective Poncho, we finally got it. Greninja counterplay. Very interesting. We've seen Metal Core Barrier before. There is a card later that we'll take a look at, a Pokemon that interacts directly with Metal Core Barrier. Going to be a very, very, very strong card. I don't think people really understand what this card is going to mean for the Steel type archetype in Pokemon Pocket. There's a lot of really good Steel type Pokemon that now have been made way better. Taking a look at, of course, the new Mawile EX, which we've taken a look at already, but I got my eyes on Melmetal EX. I think people are sleeping on Melmetal, and also Skarmory. Skarmory's got that supporter card, which I forget the name of the supporter card. Is it like Winona or something? I forget. But that supporter card reduces the damage Skarmory takes by, I think, like 40, 50, or 60. I don't know. So that combined with Metal Core Barrier, all of a sudden Skarmory's not really taking any damage. It's going to be broken. This is a broken card, so look out for it. It's going to see a lot more play. Of course, we've seen Diantha before. We've seen Sightseer. These were cards that were already revealed, these supporter cards. You can go ahead and read them. Diantha heals 90 from one of your Psychic Pokemon, but you discard 2 energies. Sightseer, you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and you pull a Stage 1 Pokemon out. Actually, you pull all Stage 1 Pokemon out, which is kind of crazy. And we've seen Pierre's before, which works with Galarian Obstagoon. But Juggler, this Juggler card is a new supporter card here. Let's read Juggler. You can use this card only if your Pokemon in play have 3 or more different types of energy attached. So this is a very weird card, a very weirdly worded card. Basically, as long as any of your Pokemon in play, whether it's the active or the bench, have 3 different energies in play, we can move all energies from each of your benched Pokemon to our active Pokemon. And this is an interesting card. I don't know all of the applications for this, but this does actually have some pretty severe implications. And basically what this means is that there's going to be some weird specific combos through things like Giratina and Zeraora. You're going to be able to technically get like 3 or 4 energies on your active Pokemon in very wonky combo scenarios in only like 2 turns, and that's going to be pretty interesting. A very strange card, but I guarantee you there's going to be some very interesting things that you can do with Juggler. And 3 or more different types of energy does seem a little bit, you know, a little bit meh. But there's different types of Pokemon that generate energy types. Like Giratina is one example of that. So you can just play like dual energies. You could play like any baby Pokemon, right? So you could play Giratina and then Pichu or whatever, or you could, and then you could just play a 3rd different energy type actually in your energy zone. So there's a lot more ways to do this. Giratina to me seems like a really big example because it's likely going to be on your bench anyway. It's a very, very interesting card. There's a lot of potential here for Juggler. Honestly, the potential's kind of infinite, realistically. So you're probably going to pair this with like Zeraora or Baby Pokemon or Giratina or anything else that generates additional energies. And you're going to be able to pair this or play this basically to get a bunch of energies onto colorless Pokemon in the active spot, or dragon Pokemon, or any, you know, dual energy types that might fit the bill here. So it's actually a very powerful card. I think this card's very slept on. It's basically like a Double Dawn, but just with an extra bit of requirements. Maybe it doesn't see any competitive play, but it's going to be fascinating to see the different combinations of stuff we can do. You could even use one baby Pokemon, retreat into a different type of baby Pokemon, generating energy that way. There's a lot of potential, is basically all I'm saying. Juggler, very strange card. One of the stranger cards I've ever seen. Now, we are getting stadiums, as you guys have seen. Listen, we have multiple different stadium cards, okay? Multiple different stadium cards. The first one here, and again, we've already seen Peculiar Plaza. We're getting 2 additional stadiums. I did mention that I thought we would get at least 3. We are getting 3 in this booster pack. Let's take a look here. Training Area, a stadium card here. If you don't know what stadiums are, they are active effect cards that go into play. They're like field cards in Yu-Gi-Oh!, I think is what they're called. They work for both people, both players at the same time, and then the only way you can get rid of a stadium is by playing a different stadium on your turn. Anyway, attacks used by Stage 1 Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponents, excuse me, deal 10 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Okay, so I read this card and I thought, stage 1 Pokemon, 10 extra damage, you know, sure. Like it doesn't sound bad to me. But the one thing that really stood out to me when reading training area was Altaria. So that's the only thing that's really coming to mind. Other stage 1 decks or Pokemon in the metagame, I guess we do have Silvally. So Silvally can extend a little bit if you wanted to play it. What other stage 1 Pokemon, you know, really see that much play? Like stage 1 decks are very awkward. Whimsicott saw a little bit of play in here. I might be forgetting something very obvious. Melmetal EX, I don't know. I could be, I guess all of the evolutions. So this could be decent for like Jolteon or the evolution decks. But Altaria basically gets 10 extra damage whenever it attacks, which, you know, is kind of crazy. I actually think that's extremely relevant for a number of different scenarios because Altaria hits for 130, which is kind of an awkward amount of damage. A lot of those Pokemon have like 140 or 150 HP. So training area boosting Altaria's damage up to 140 is a pretty relevant number, allowing you to one-hit KO things like Suicune, which is going to be pretty good. I think this is a card that's going to likely be, you know, very relevant for Altaria. And you got to keep in mind, if there's a broken deck in the game or broken strategy that is reliant on playing a stadium card, you're going to be forced to play your own stadiums because that's the only way to remove your opponent's stadium. So keep that in mind. This is not something we've ever seen before in Pokemon Pocket. It's going to be just a massive shift in the way people build decks. It's going to be very, very interesting. So yeah, stage 1 damage support, and this is going to stack, right, with things like red. So it's effectively a plus 30 in one turn. You can still play Rocky Helmet. All of a sudden, you know, there's 50 plus damage on the board that allows Altaria to hit up to 180, which is a kind of a scary number, quite frankly. So training area, very interesting card. Not as broken though as the next stadium card, which I am absolutely terrified about. And that is going to be Starting Plains right here, guys. Starting Plains. Starting Plains here reads, each basic Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's in the active and on the bench, get 20 extra HP. Plus 20. This is effectively a giant cape for all basic Pokemon on the board. This is a really big deal because there are some decks that just play basic Pokemon. You know, this could be like Giratina and Mimikyu or Giratina Darkrai. Imagine just both Pokemon with plus 20. In grass decks specifically, this is going to be kind of broken. This is going to be pretty crazy here. Pinsir EX can now go plus 50. You could play Lilligants and then go plus 90 HP on Pinsir. All of a sudden, we have 260 HP. There's a million different scenarios here. The thing that does scare me the most about Starting Plains is that we can go Cape and Starting Plains in Suicune and have 180 HP on a Suicune EX. What are we doing? What is going on here? Chingling, 50 HP Chinglings? There's an infinite. I mean, think about how many basic Pokemon see play. Just for like a quick second. Just like think about it. Just sit back and think about all of those basic Pokemon now having plus 20 HP. Kind of crazy. So if there's any grass basics, you could play Leaf Cape and have effectively 50 plus HP. Like Buzzwole. Buzzwole's slapping, dude. Buzzwole's going to have 190 HP. Like, what are we doing here? Grass Pokemon as well have access to Ericas, right? So if you're playing a basic grass Pokemon, it can go plus 50 HP. That's plus 70 or 90 if you are playing Lilligants. But you're also have access to Ericas, which can just heal 50. And we also have the new Popsicle. A lot of different opportunities here. This Starting Plains card is going to see a lot of play in a lot of different decks. If you're playing a deck here that plays basic Pokemon, and, you know, spoiler, there are some strong basic Pokemon coming in the set, you're effectively just going to play this card because you have no reason not to. It's absolutely incredible. You are going to be able to remove this pretty easily by playing your own stadium. But either way, if you can't get rid of this, like plus 20 across the board is a really big deal. A really, really strong card. Of course, we've already seen Peculiar Plaza, and this is going to be one of the crown rares for the set, Protective Poncho. These are the full arts of the supporter cards here. And there you go. That is all of the trainer cards coming. All of the trainer cards coming in this booster pack. All of them are actually kind of crazy. I mean, they're all really good. I mean, some might see more play than others. Starting Plains seems crazy to me. We've talked about Diantha with Gardevoir. Pierre's is crazy in the Obstagoon deck. All of the stadium cards are insane. I love Protective Poncho, even though it's a little bit specific. I really love Metal Corparea. I think it's going to change the Metal Steel archetype forever. I think Lucky Ice Pop is broken in some decks, like 18, 19 trainer decks. This are going to love this card. And then Juggler. Juggler is like one of the weirdest cards I've ever seen. Really excited about the potential there. Okay, moving on is the Pokemon. We're just going to dive in and talk about every single Pokemon coming in this pack. And there's quite a few. As you guys can see, like, these are all the Pokemon. So there's a lot of Pokemon here. And let's just sort of dive in. Again, most of these Pokemon are just not going to be that good. We're just going to kind of sift through them and find things that are a bit interesting. We're going to look out for low energy attack costs. We're going to look out for abilities. Those are the types of things you kind of look for in Pokemon, right? Especially non-EX Pokemon. So Ladybug and Ledian here, nothing too crazy. We've already seen that. There's Shuckle here, 40 damage to grass, take 20 less damage. That's a meme card. Roselia, flip a coin of heads. You deal 40 for 1 energy. It's whatever. Roserade, 90 HP. Poison Ring, 50 for 2 grass. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. During your opponent's next turn, that Pokemon can't retreat. I mean, it's kind of a dual effect. I don't think it's a good card, but quite interesting. It is a stage 1. This is a stage 1. So you could play this with like Lilligants, and you could play Quick Growth Extract, and it's an interesting card. We have the Stadium to deal plus 10 damage. I don't know how I feel about it. Cacnea, Cacturn here, 60. If it has any damage on it does 60 more for 3 grass. Not that good. We are getting Chespin, Quilladin, and Chestnut. So this set does have some like Gen 3 and Gen 6 like vibes to it in a weird way. Chestnut, 160 HP. With Leaf Cape, we go to 190 on a non-EX stage 2 Pokemon. 2 grass, 2 colorless, Needle Lariat. So 4 energies is going to be tough for sure, even though 2 of those are colorless. 80 damage. During your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, deal 80 damage to the attacking Pokemon. I mean, that's really not a bad card, if I'm being honest with you. Very interesting. And again, we have Erika's, we have Lilia with that. We have Scatterbug, Spupa, Signs of Evolution. We can put a random card that evolves from it into our hand, which is pretty cool. And then go into Vivillon, or Vivillon? Vivillon, yeah. 130 HP, Vivid Powder 60, and your opponent's Pokemon is now poisoned and asleep. Not a horrible card, but not that great. We are getting a Buzzwole, a non-EX Buzzwole, guys. Spoiler, Ultra Beasts are back. They are releasing new Ultra Beast cards. Why? I don't know. But new and improved and updated Ultra Beasts to pair with the Lucamine package. It's very interesting. They just sort of threw Ultra Beasts in here. This is not the only one, so stay tuned for some more Ultra Beasts. But this is non-EX Buzzwole, 110 HP yet again, by the way, buffed by that new supporter card that buffs basic HP. We have Leaf Cape. So, I mean, this card could be pretty beefy. 2 grass and energy, 40 damage. If your opponent has gotten exactly 1 point, this attack does 40 more damage, so 80. Not a horrible card, but an interesting one. We have Gossifleur here, and then we have Eldegoss with Float Up. This is basically the non... do we have an Eldegoss EX? I forget. Do we? Is it Eldegoss? Or is it something else? I forget. Anyway, 90 HP, 1 energy, 40, and then you can shuffle if you want. You can shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck. It's a very interesting card. And then we have Teal Mask Ogerpon, which we've talked about. Protects all of your Pokemon with energies from any special conditions. There are cards coming in the set that do work with this, so we'll talk about them as well. But that's all there is for Grass Pokemon. Grass definitely doesn't have anything super substantial. If I'm grading the whole Grass lineup here for this pack, it's not that high. It's I will say there's nothing here that really stands out to me. Ogerpon has some potential, but it's really not a crazy card. Nothing else here really stands out to me. Next up is the Fire Pokemon. So let's take a look here. Not many Fire Pokemon coming in the set, but these are the Fire Pokemon here. Starting off with Alolan Marowak here in the top left. Fiery Bone. Fiery Bone is the attack name. Double fire energies, 40 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. All right. We have a new basic Reshiram card. Shout out to Reshiram. Gen 5. Let's go. Unova getting some love here. The best generation. I always say it, right? I think we all know Black and White are the best games. 3 fire energies, 110 damage. Discard 2 fire from this Pokemon. So just a filler card. Just absolute filler. Shout out to look at the Unova region in the background there. Absolutely beautiful. Litleo, Pyroar here. Again, more filler cards. Here's the Oricorio with Inspiring Dance, which is actually a very interesting card. Very underrated card, I think. But anyway, the elephant in the room here is Blacephalon EX. Yeah, so back when ED Crisis came out, we had Blacephalon, which was not an EX. Now we have Blacephalon EX. And before we had a Buzzwole EX, and now we have a non-EX Buzzwole. So they kind of just gave us either of those. I don't know. Blacephalon EX is a basic fire EX Pokemon. 140 HP, so a decent amount for a basic Pokemon. 1 fire energy Singe, and now your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. This is massively underrated, I think, because 1 energy and we can attack. So we do something and we burn our opponent. Like I do like that like this card can do that. And then we have Pop Punk 140, discard 3 fire energies from this Pokemon. That may seem like a big deal, but keep in mind we have Lusamine, right? So as long as your opponent has taken a point, we can Lusamine and then just sort of power this thing immediately back up with Lusamine, or of course we have Flame Patch as well if we want to do it that way. So you can hit for 140s back to back to back with Blacephalon, and I actually really think this card is quite decent. Retreat cost of 2, which is a little awkward, so you know you don't want it in the active to lead off the games, although if you do, it's not the worst thing in the world. You might want to play Leaf in the deck, but you know this is 3 fire energies. You could just play this with Magby. You know, Magby going second is going to be able to allow Blacephalon to attack on your second turn, which is quite frankly a lot of damage. Don't forget we also have Beast something. What is it called? Like Beast, it's like the tool card. What is it called? Beast Boost? Beast Booster? I forget whatever the tool card is, but it does allow you to deal more damage with your Ultra Beast cards. I never really saw play back in the day, but has potential here with Blacephalon. We could be hitting big damage. We could be hitting big damage here with Blacephalon. It's similar to like Flareon. This is like a Flareon type card. But it's a basic, and you have Ultra Beasts, so Lusamine works with it, which is what this card is meant to do, is work with. Oh, I forgot we have Celesteela. We could just play Celesteela with it, which is pretty cool actually. So shout out to Blacephalon, and I think this card's crazy. I think this is like pretty decent. Like I think this could easily see play, especially because it's worth 2 prizes, right? So like, you know, like your opponent's going to have to deal with this. The new stadium does bring this thing up to 160, Giant Cape to 180. All of a sudden, 180 HP Blacephalon EX coming at you hot, coming at you strong. Very interesting. A very interesting card. I'm actually pretty excited for this. I think as far as all cards go in the game, this is a pretty decent one. Here's Scorbunny and Raboot and Cinderace, which is, again, kind of more filler cards, to be fair. These aren't cards that are really going to be in the meta. And look, we are getting Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon, which means we will be having the Wellspring Mask and then the Rock Mask one. I forget what it's called. Anyway, 80 HP, basic, fire, Hearthflame Dance. 1 fire, 1 colorless, 40. Flip a coin. If heads, take 2 fire energies from your energy zone and attach them to one of your bench Pokemon. So, you know, not consistent energy acceleration, but a pretty decent card here, realistically. You know, you could go Magby Chain into this turn 2, hit for 40, and then all of a sudden you got 2 extra energies on board. You could Flame Patch. It's really not a bad card. I wish it wasn't a coin flip, to be fair. I think it would even have been that crazy if it wasn't a coin flip, but it is a coin flip. Overall, not a horrible card, I would say. And that's the fire Pokemon. A couple of bangers in here. Oricorio underrated. Blacephalon's going to be pretty decent, I think, and then also Ogerpon, so not too bad there for the fire Pokemon, but this is, we're getting into the bangers here, folks. You may notice the elephant in the room here, which is our boy Mega Swampert EX. Yeah, we're getting Mega Swampert, but we also have Alolan Ninetales EX, so let's take a look here. Vulpix here has 60, so not 50 HP, but it does Gnaw for 20. Alolan Ninetales EX, Stage 1 Pokemon, so we can use that new stadium card to deal 10 extra damage, so just keep that in mind. But also, only 2 water energies. We can get this thing going turn 2 very easily with Mantike, which is always going to be pretty fun. Binding Snow is the attack. Retreat cost of 2, weak to steel. By the way, weak to steel. Retreat cost of 2, 150 HP. During your opponent's next turn, they can't take any energy from their energy zone and attach it to their active Pokemon. Okay. All right. I see you, Alolan Ninetales. Honestly, I don't really know what to think of this. Like, I kind of feel like we're supposed to be playing this with like Greninja and Cyrus to like control which Pokemon's in the active spot. It's really not that bad. But what it is going to do is just force your opponent to just set up whatever they want on the bench, which most decks kind of do that anyway. But you know, maybe you could play like an early Repel or a Sabrina, bring up that Suicune on the bench, or bring up that Blaziken on the bench, whatever it is, and then stop your opponent from attaching energies to it. This is going to be really effective in decks that just don't play a lot of Pokemon or lead off with a Pokemon that they would like to, you know, use. Baby Pokemon don't care about this, but they will be getting KO'd anyway. So it's a very interesting card. It kind of is like a ticking time bomb, right? If you're able to just sort of get your opponent's core Pokemon in the active spot early and just start attacking it, they're not going to be able to do anything. And because they can't attach any energies to the active Pokemon, that means that they can't retreat. Most times, sometimes, you know, I mean, like sometimes they'll play a retreat card, but you know what I mean? You need energies to retreat. So that's interesting. This is going to be decent into like Mega Pokemon. Like, I don't hate this card, but I also don't know if I really love it. It seems like it's just a little bit like it seems good. Like, this is a good card, but it's also like, why? Like, would I rather just do more damage and not have this whole like effect thing going on? It's a very interesting card. 80 damage is kind of, it's a little bit like, well, are we really gonna like 4-hit KO Gardevoir or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's tough. It's a tough one. But it will technically shut off things like Gardevoir from attacking itself or accelerating energy to itself, because it means they can't take any energy from their energy zone at all. So anything that accelerates energy also does that. This will stop a Giratina from using its ability in the active and various other things like that, which again is pretty fun. The only thing this won't stop is, again, Flame Patch, because that comes from the discard pile, but and Lucamine, I suppose. But a lot of things, anything that generates energies from the zone, this will stop as long as it's in the active spot. So a very interesting control type card here. Again, I'm just trying to think of concepts. Like, sure, you could play this with like Team Rocket Grunt and like discard the energies, and then come in and then just they're stuck. Like, that's a fun strategy, I guess. But I don't know like how foolproof that's going to be. That's my only thing here. I do find this very interesting. This card is very interesting. Shout out to Alola Ninetales. I like it a lot. Galarian Mr. Rhyme, triple spin, 3 coins, 60 for each heads. Pretty interesting. Look at this Delibird card, double colorless box of surprises. Flip a coin if heads, this attack does 70 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, but if tails, heal 30 from your opponent's active. So that's a pretty funny card. Look at this Mudkip, guys. Look at this art on the Mudkip. Look at him. He's incredible. Let's take a look here at Marshtomp Surf for 40. We have a Naughty X Swampert here, 100 damage. Discard a random energy from among the energy attached to all Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's here for 3 water. Very similar to Mega Swampert, which, by the way, guys, has 230 HP. 230? Really? 230 HP? Okay. What game are we playing here? Pokemon Pocket, Pokemon with 230 HP. I guess Venusaur also, has like 230, but that's a lot. That's a lot of HP. You can Giant Cave go to 250. We do have access to Lily. I mean, this thing is going to be difficult to get around. And take a look here. 3 water energies. Not that hard to get 3 water energies on a water Pokemon, if we're being fair here. You know what I mean? Like, you just play Mantike, you play Manaphy, you can play Elemental Switch or whatever. Like, you can easily get 3 energies onto Mega Swampert. Retreat cost of 3, so you could play Heavy Helmet with it. Shout out to Heavy Helmet. 150 damage for 3 energies, so a decent amount of damage. Discard 2 random energies from among the energy attached to all Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's. This is an interesting card. So this does remind me of Gyarados. Gyarados had the similar effect where it was like, we're just going to discard one energy, and maybe it's from us, maybe it's from you. But now this is 2 random energies, which, is a little bit better, but also worse than Gyarados' effect. Because if Gyarados discarded its own energy, you were like, well, that's fine, I'll just attach and attack again. But with Mega Swampert, if you discard double energies from yourself, that's really not that good, to be honest with you. But as long as you're not discarding 2 from your Pokemon, it's probably not that bad. Makes me feel like we probably do want to play Mantike with this, just so that we can have some extra energies on the board to not discard off of Mega Swampert. This card has potential, guys. 230 and 150. Those are the only things standing out to me are the numbers. I'm a numbers guy. All right, and I'll hit for 150. I'll tell you that. I'll gladly smack you in the face for 150 for sure. Mega Swampert. Look at the art on this guy, dude. He looks like a demon. Looks like a weird Lovecraftian horror creature. Look at him, dude. He's reaching out for you. Incredible. I think this card is going to be decent. I think as far as water Pokemon go, I guess we have Suicune and we have Greninja EX. Like, I think that whole thing is probably just better than this, but 150 is 150, and I'm not sleeping on it. Very interesting card. Just a weird, crazy card. It's going to be super polarizing, but again, I do kind of like it, not going to lie. We have a new Vanillix card because we had seen the Vanillite in the trailer here. And guess what? It's Sweets Relay. They gave us yet another Sweets Relay card. 140, stage 2, double water, 60. If one of your opponents used Sweets Relay during your last turn, you do 60 more. So it's 120. This might be good in Sweets Relay. I don't know. I haven't kept up with the Sweets Relay stuff. I don't know if this would be good in it or not, but there you go. Check this out, guys. Let's check out Cryogonal. The Cryogonal lock is coming. Frozen lock. This is Chingling. This is Chingling, but 70 HP and requires 1 water energy, but we do 20 damage. Like, this card is actually quite good for water decks. Like, it's a broken card here. During your opponent's next turn, they cannot play any item cards from their hand. So it's literally Chingling lock, but in the form of Cryogonal. So we have 40 more HP. We deal double the damage, so 20 damage. And of course, it takes 1 water energy. So I do like this card, actually. In water decks, I think most of the time you would probably rather play this than Jingling, honestly. Kind of crazy. I mean, no item lock into with 70 HP. It's going to be kind of annoying to get rid of like 2 cryogonals, right? If like we can't evolve anything. And then you know, you're taking 20 damage every turn, so it's a big difference there. Like something like this would pair really well in a variety of decks if it wasn't water. Like if this was just a colorless Pokemon, this would be everywhere because it would be crazy with like Rocky Helmet and Mars and whatnot. But the thing still, like this applies still the same way Jingling applies, where you just play this. They're worth the same prizes, so you just play this in place of like playing Jingling. No one plays Jingling in any water decks, I don't think. But anyway, Cryogonal technically will work that way. Here is the Amora and Aurora's cards that go with the Sail Fossil here. Aurora's 150 HP, stage 2, 2 water and 1 colorless, Hail Prison, 90 damage, discard 2 water energies from this Pokemon. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So this is like a stage 2 fossil Galvantula, water type. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's an interesting card here. I don't feel too strongly about it. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think here. If I'm missing anything, like if any of this sounds broken to you guys, just comment down below. Anyway, Cramorant, Spit Out Shot, 1 water. This does 30 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So water now has the old Hitmonlee, right? So we have Heatmore, we've got Leap Over Absol. You know, now we just have a water type one, which, you know, is better than you think it is. This is something that, you know, could be relevant, like pretty easily. Like you know how Blaziken plays Heatmore? Like we could just play Cramorant with, you know, Mega Swampert, you know, and just like maybe play Misties to kind of get over like the energy curve there, and you know, and then we're rocking. Like then, you know, we're just playing it like you know, like Blaziken. So now water type has that Heatmore card, which, you know, is relevant. Those are relevant cards. Arrokuda and Barrascuda, some filler cards here, and here is Wellspring Ogerpon here in the bottom right. 80 HP, basic water, 1 water, 1 colorless. Wellspring Dance 40, flip a coin of heads. This attack also does 40 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. All right, it's a coin flip card. I'm not playing coin flip cards, but I mean, it is a decent card, I guess. And yeah, there are the water Pokemon coming in this set. Definitely not too bad. I like Cryogonal. I like Cramorant. I'm glad we got it. Mega Swampert seems fun. A little of the Ninetales definitely could be pretty good. I'm not going to sleep on that card, but very interesting water type cards here. I love to see it. Next up is going to be the Lightning cards, and we're not getting too many of them, but let's take a look here really quickly. So we are getting, I think, like the 12th or 13th Pikachu card coming to Pokemon Pocket. Yet another one. 30 damage, 10 to itself here, and we also right here have a Alolan Raichu, 110 HP, has the Surge Surfer ability. If a stadium's in play, you got free retreat, so that's pretty cool. Double lightning energies, Thunder Spear, 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's not horrible. It can KO those Swablu's on the bench, which is pretty funny. You can go, you know, Pichu into it, right? So you can kind of turbo KO basics. It's all right. It's all right. You know, like that's how I feel about it. It's a totally, you know, fine card here. This is also getting buffed by the stadium, but I need to go back to that stadium because I need to read it again here. Training Arena, 10 damage to your opponent's active. Okay, so yeah, we're not going to hit the bench for 60. That would be a lot stronger if we could hit the bench for 60, but we can only hit the active for 60 if we wanted to do that, in the bench for 50 damage. But it does work with that stadium, which is, you know, is something. We have another new Zapdos card, which is definitely a throwback art. I don't, is this the fossil art or the jungle set art? I don't know, but definitely an old art here on Zapdos, which is pretty cool. 100 HP, 3 lightning energies, heavy thunder, 1 other Pokemon, either yours or your opponent's, is chosen at random one time. Deal 100 damage to the chosen Pokemon. All right, I don't know. I don't think we're ever playing this card. I don't know. Oh, it says 1 other Pokemon. So if you only have Zapdos in play, you're guaranteed to do 100 to a random. I mean, 100 for 3 lightning just isn't even that good either. Weird card. I'm not gonna try that one out. New Plessel and Minun cards, which are cool here. Electric Tail for 1 lightning. They both have 1 lightning, 70 HP, retreat cost of 1. Flip a coin of heads. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. I think this is the same as Pincurchin. I think this is literally Pincurchin. We had that card a while back, but we have Minun here. Buddy Spark, 30 damage. If Plessel's on your bench, this attack also does 10 to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Wow. All right. Okay. I see here. I see what we're doing. I mean, 30 and 10 spread. I mean, that's really not bad. You do need Plessel on the bench, which, you know, is like kind of awkward, but you can play 2 copies of either of these cards. Gonna be an interesting little package here. Interesting. I mean, you can play this with a lot of different stuff here. Very, very cool. All right, we have a Toxel card. Oh, and yes, and sorry, these cards are meant to be paired with Toxtricity. Okay, I'm getting it now. Toxtricity EX, a very random EX card. Did anybody expect a Toxtricity EX coming? This is a 60 HP Toxel, which is crazy. You would think that had 50 HP, but it doesn't. Toxtricity, 150 HP, retreat cost of 2, weak to fighting stage 1 Pokemon, so we get the stadium buff here. 2 lightning and 1 colorless, damaging spark, 90 damage, but also does 30 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has damage on it. So clearly here we can play this. You can play this with Spiritomb as well. Anything that spreads damage. You could play this with Lurantis, which you wouldn't, of course, but you could. Yeah, Minun here. So basically, you know, you go Minun and you go Plusle, and then Minun does 30, spreads 10 to the bench, and then we come in with Toxtricity, and now we're dealing 30 to the bench. You know, the spread damage stuff is interesting. I don't know if it's like as viable in the meta now, because most decks aren't going to be playing like enough Pokemon for you to win. Like what you're just going to probably still end up having to go through one really big Pokemon. That's just kind of how the meta game is right now. Most decks are playing like a Mega or just like a, you know, they're not just playing a bunch of small Pokemon. Like, I mean, sometimes decks are like Altaria sometimes does have that board state, but Toxtricity is an interesting card. I really don't expect this to see play. You know, spread decks like this in Pokemon Pocket just don't have enough going for them. I really think that the metagame just isn't really about dealing spread damage. They're fun strategies, but like, you know, it's really just about building one Pokemon up and then just winning, you know, and that's not something Toxtricity is going to be able to deal with very well. But keep in mind, we do have Toxtricity now. So, I mean, you know, there we go. I might be missing something with Toxtricity, but there you go. You know, we have it. Tadbulb, 50 HP, so Lycia Bait here. 1 colorless energy. Charge, take a lightning energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon, and it evolves into Bellybolt, which does it just 80, I guess. This could be a very interesting card. You know, colorless, charge, 50 HP. I mean, the Bellybolt stinks, but this card isn't bad. Like, if it were to evolve into a good Pokemon, it would be a pretty decent basic. That's the lightning Pokemon. Nothing here really stands out other than the Plusle, Minun, and Toxtricity package, which could be fun. I think I'd still rather play Spiritomb than this stuff here, but I mean, it's something, you know. It's spread. Like, the spread decks are never going to be that good, in my humble, honest opinion. Here's the Psychic cards, and yeah, I mean, we all know Psychic is where it's at this set. Definitely Dina's favorite typing. Psychic is traditionally by far, and I mean that, like by far the best type in Pokemon Pocket since the game's been out. They just love Psychic Pokemon. Let's get into it here. A Galarian Ponyta into Galarian Rapidash Photon Laser. 1 energy, 40 damage. If you have 5 or more Psychic energy in play, this attack does 60 more. So 100 HP, 100 damage for 1 in a late game stage deck. It's a stage 1 Pokemon. It's a little bit of a stretch to play this. If it was a basic Pokemon, then I could definitely see it see play. But a stage 1 means you're going to have to play multiple, you know, 2 to 3 or 4 cards in your deck to play this. I don't know if it's really worth it, but really not a bad card. Wobbuffet, a 100 HP, flip over, 3 energies, double colorless, 80 damage, and also does 10 to itself. All right. Okay. Next up, Snubble here. Sharp Fang into Granbull Strength, the more filler cards here. Okay, here we are. We have a new Ralts and Kirlia and Gardevoir to, of course, go with Mega Gardevoir. Let's take a look at Ralts. 60 HP, so we were theorizing maybe it would have 50, but it doesn't. It has 60, so no Lycia stuff with Gardevoir, which is pretty important to note. Confused Ray, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. You know, we might play this. Confusion is not as good as Sleep. I don't think it is. Maybe it works the exact same way, actually. Maybe it does, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Like from a mathematical standpoint, I don't know. But yeah, so Ralts here to guarantee confusion. This is going to work similarly to how Swablu works in Mega Altaria, although it's a Psychic Energy, so it's not colorless. Not that that matters. It evolves into Kirlia here, Psybeam 20, and also still Confusion. So now the middle evolution can also just turn your opponent's Pokemon off. I think the difference between Confusion is they could retreat. Is that the difference? We don't really see Confusion ever in Pokemon Pocket, but I think the difference between Confusion and Sleep is that you can retreat out of Confusion, so I don't think it's as good as Sleep. But we have Gardevoir here, 130, Psy Turbo, double Psychic here, 60 damage, take 2 Psychic from your Energy Zone and attach it to 1 of your bench Psychic Pokemon. I think this is objectively worse than the other Gardevoir, I believe, with the ability. I think you would never want to play this. Unless I'm wrong for some reason. I just think the other one's better. I think. I mean, I guess This will be better in some ways, but like you never really want this in the active, and if it is, you know, it's for against Oricorio, and I think you'd still just rather play the other Gardevoir. But yeah, I mean, I guess it does work better, a bit better. No, it's the same. It's the same, right? Well, I guess it's +2 energies, but isn't the other Gardevoir? Well, the other Gardevoir, I guess, is only +1. So I guess it's a little better in maybe some scenarios, but I think the other one's a bit more flexible because it doesn't have to be in the active spot to generate the energies. But here we go. We have a new Gardevoir. It does work with Diantha. Mega Gardevoir, which we all know, we all love. Everyone's going to be simping for Mega Gardevoir. They're all going to be playing Mega Gardevoir day one with Diantha. It's going to be fun. We made a video earlier today, effectively building a bunch of different Gardevoir decks, and I don't think those decks are really going to change much at all, based off the cards that we're seeing, but you never know. We have a Litwick card. Shout out to Gen 5. Gen 5 Supremacy Mumble, 20 damage. It evolves into Lampeteer, Petty Grudge, and then another Chandelure, a new one, not a fire type one, but a psychic type one. Double psychic energies, 140 by the way. Past Friends, 60 damage plus, does 20 more damage for each supporter card in your discard pile. Oh, okay. I mean, I get it. I don't know if we're really ever going to have more than like, you know, what is it, like 4 to 6 supporter cards in our discard pile, and that's like very late in the game. So, yeah, you know, I don't think it's that good. Speaking of good cards, though, Meloetta is broken. People were kind of correcting me in today's video because I was just straight up wrong about Meloetta, I believe. We have to wait and see, but the wording on the card is weird. At the beginning of your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, put a random psychic energy from your deck into your hand. And I was basically under the impression that this would not work on your first turn, but I'm pretty sure, as people explained to me, the way Pokemon Pocket works is that you guys, the game doesn't start until after people put their cards on their bench, which I think it might be different than the official card game, although I don't really remember. We haven't seen a card like this, but I mean, if this card does in fact give you a psychic Pokemon on your first turn, especially if you're going first, like that's crazy. Like this is a crazy card. Like this might be one of the best cards ever made in Pokemon Pocket, because it's not like Suicune. Like it's at the beginning of your turn, so you start your first turn with that extra Pokemon, which adds a lot of consistency, immediately thins a card out of your deck, which is broken. But also, it's Pokemon specifically. It's thinning Pokemon out of your deck, which like is the one thing you want to always just get out of your deck really early. So this card is incredible if that is the case. Even if it's not the case, this card's going to be really good. I think you're going to have to play this if you're going to play Gardevoir. And like really any psychic like evolution deck, if you're playing a psychic deck and it's playing Pokemon, like just play Meloetta, like because it's going to be worth it. You can just retreat for free with the new stadium. It's very, very good. I really, really think Meloetta is broken. Shout out to everybody that was correcting me in the comments. I just assumed this wouldn't work on your first turn, but I guess it probably will now that I read it more. So either way, crazy card. Shout out to Meloetta. Very, very interesting card. Pumpkaboo into Gourgeist. They did confirm Pumpkaboo, and we also have a Gourgeist here. 1 energy, stage 1. 70 damage. Discard a card from your hand, and if you can't, this attack doesn't do anything. So we're able to discard like 70 for 1. Is kind of crazy. I mean, like we're KOing a lot of basic Pokemon with this. 110 HP, really not a bad card as far as things go. Like, is it good enough to see play? Probably not, but it is a very interesting card. Excuse me there. Mimikyu. We've already seen Mimikyu. We know it. We love it. I think this card's broken, and we built a deck with it in today's video. I really think it'll see play, and I think Mimikyu is going to be a little bit scary here because people, you know, to me, I interpret Mimikyu as like the return of like Giratina Darkrai, except it's just Mimikyu now, and I think that's pretty funny. I do. I think it's going to be a fun card. It's going to be a very interesting card. The effect disguise is broken. But anyway, we have a new Sinistea and Poltegeist, which has a very strong ability here. Sinistea only 30 HP, which is crazy. We are able to search this thing with Lissia and whatnot, but it's not a baby Pokemon. Flip a coin if heads during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage and effects done to this Pokemon. Pretty cool. But let's take a look here at Poltegeist, because Poltegeist here has Refreshing Tea ability. Let's read this. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, so it can be in the active or on the bench, you may have your opponent shuffle their hand into their deck. For each remaining point that your opponent needs to win, they draw a card. So, not how many prizes that they, yeah. So it's like the inverse for how many points they have left. So like if they've taken 2 points and then you hit them with the old Refreshing Tea, then they shuffle their hand into their deck and draw 1 card. It's basically like a Mars is what this is. This is a Mars, but in the effect of an ability that you can play, that's pretty strong, I would say. I mean, even like in the early game, like this is just going to be like good hand disruption. I don't know if it's like worth it to play in your deck because it is a stage 1 Pokemon. But like you could play Meloetta and like thin these psychic Pokemon really out of your deck. I mean, you could play a deck with so many psychic Pokemon and just draw them all pretty early. You know, we could even see stuff with like Meloetta and Shiinotic from back in the day. There's still Mythical Slab that you could play to thin the top card of your deck out if it's a psychic Pokemon. You can play Pokeballs. Like there's a bunch of stuff you could do. Poltegeist here is a very strong ability, but again, I just don't know if it's like worth playing a stage 1 Pokemon for that ability when you could just play Mars. Very limited slots in your deck, but this is a very fun Pokemon, very strong ability. And then we have an Indeedee, non-EX, Zen, Shard, 3 Psychic. This attack does 70 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Again, no one's really, I mean, to be honest, I said no one's going to play this, but this really isn't a bad card. Like, you could just play this as a 1-of in Gardevoir, and then if they retreat or whatever, like, you can just snipe a bench for game. Like, you can set this thing up in 1 turn with Gardevoir. You know, it's actually interesting. I think they're kind of making a weird, like, toolbox for Gardevoir, which, you know, has some potential. It's gonna be, there's a lot of ways we could go with Guard. I think Indeedee has some potential, I'm not gonna lie. And again, they all have free retreat, which is crazy, right? With the, you know, with the new stadium card. So shout out to that Indeedee card, a card that would be just complete filler, but randomly just comes out with a Pokemon here that generates 3 psychic energy. So, you know, I mean, let's see, let's test it out, man. Indeedee, I'm all for it. Next up are the fighting cards. We've got some interesting ones in here, some not so interesting cards in here, but here we go. Sandshrew, double scratch into Sand Slash, Fury Swipes, 3 coins, 30 for each heads, 1 fighting energy. Really not a bad card. You know, turn 2, double Lucario Sand Slash, just 1 at KOing stuff, could be pretty fun. We have a new Machop here. Discard a Stadium in play for 10 damage. So one of the only ways we can discard stadiums right now, other than playing our own stadium. So that's funny. Evolves into Machoke, and then Machamp here. Is this like the 3rd or 4th Machamp card we've gotten? I swear. Knocking Hammer, 80 damage. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Okay. It's sure. Why not? Here's Cubone, because we did see the Alolan Marowak. Cubone is here. Does 10 damage. Meditite also does 10 damage. Medicham. Psychic 50. If this Pokemon has any psychic energy attached to it, does 50 more damage. So it is the non-EX version of Medicham promo, Mega Medicham promo, which we are getting this set at some point, which is interesting. So 100, it is what it is. Roggenrola into Boldore, Power Gem into Gigalith EX. Why do we have a Gigalith EX? I don't know, but I'm happy about it. 190 HP on this stage too, you know, big guy. Megaton Cannon, 4 fighting energies. Again, can somebody just explain to me how they expect us to get 4 fighting energies on Gigalith EX here? I don't know. But if we do get 4 energies onto Gigalith EX, again, you know, dude, Gen 5 Supremacy, I'm playing Gigalith. I already know it. 4 fighting. This attack does 140 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. And during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. They had to just throw that in, didn't they? You know, as if somehow we were going to get the stage 2 fighting Pokemon with 4 energies. They just couldn't let it even be good, even if we were able to do that. You know, they just had to say, like, hey, you know, even if you do find a way to get this thing set up, like, you can't do it more than once. So, RIP to Gigalith. This is like, you know, and I kind of get disappointed here, and I could just be wrong, but I get disappointed when they make EX cards just like pure filler. You know, and they always seem to be like the fighting ones and the steel type ones. You know what I mean? It's like really, like what? I don't know. Are they like, do they want to protect this in case something in the future comes out? Do they not want us to go like Passimian into Mega Gigalith 140 like snipe bench for game? Like I don't really get it. You know what I mean? That's all it is. Like I just don't really understand. To be fair, I do think if you were playing this card, you would play it with Passimian, and you'd go Passimian, hopefully stay alive with the stadium. Passimian gets buffed with the HP amount, you know, and then you just pass into Gigalith, and you're ready to just, you know, do your thing. It does have potential. It could be a fun deck. I just don't know. You know, actually, now that I think about it, like we have 190 HP, so I mean, we can just tank a hit. You know what I mean? We can do that. We can heavy helmet, so like they have to hit for 210. Nobody's hitting for 210. Shout out to Mega Charizard. And I think it's actually not that bad because you just come in, you're like, which one are we hitting? You know, where are we going here? Boom, 140, and they're like, well, you know, almost KO'd my Mega Gardevoir or whatever. And you're like, you know, almost. But then you just tank the hit, you know what I mean? You just tank the hit, and then you do it again on the next turn. It's kind of a funny, kind of a funny deal. Actually, it doesn't work that way, does it? Now that I think about it, because if you attack, your next turn, you can't attack, which means your opponent will attack you, and then you can't attack again. So yeah, I don't think this. I don't think it works. You'd have to play Lycia, right? This is the Dragonite stuff. This is the Dragonite EX thing. You'd have to play Lycia, right? But then again, what are you Lyciaing into? You'd have to like bench a baby Pokemon and then Gigalith back in. That could be a fun combo. Passimian, baby Pokemon, Lycia, Gigalith, sweep. Could be a crazy deck, bro. Somebody call Mega Mogwai and get him on the phone right now, because I'm cooking. I'm not your resident Spice Lord. I don't do that stuff on the channel. But just to let you know, if that was what we did here on the channel, your boy would cook. We would be cooking. What do you think about Gigalith EX? I mean, quite frankly, it might end up being the best Pokemon in the set. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, shout out to Gigalith, dude. You know, Gen 5, my goat. Okay, Tyrantrum, 150 HP. This is the other fossil. So another fighting stage 2 fossil Pokemon. By the way, fossils you can't play in Jingling Log, just in case you forgot, because they're item cards when they're in your hand. Tyrantrum, 150 HP, 3 fighting energy, Tyrannical Fang, 100 damage. If you have fewer Pokemon in play than your opponent, this attack does 80 more damage. 180? Did they? Okay, so like these are the same Pokemon in a lot of ways, I guess. It's just Tyrantrum does 180 to the active, and Gigalith does 140 to any Pokemon. Yeah, okay. I mean, this card is good. This is a good card. So what? I guess you play this with just babies. You play this with like Chingling or whatever. And then you just let them KO Chinglings a couple times. You Mars into 1. You go into Tyrantrum. You got 0 Pokemon in play, and you're just swinging for 180. It's actually probably not that bad of a strategy, although you will lose to any other deck playing Chingling. That's kind of the downside, I think, to Tyrantrum, but interesting. This card has potential. 180 is 180, you know? They make cards like this sometimes. I think the Golurk card was like that, which was like, sometimes we hit for 200, huh? You know, it's fun. Tyrantrum has some potential here. This card art looks like it came straight out of like 2013. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but Passimian, which is this is Hitmonlee V2? Is that what this is? 90 HP basic, retreat cost of 2. Does Hitmonlee have a retreat cost of 2? I think it has a retreat cost of 1. Fling, 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So this is Hitmonlee, I think, with like 10 more HP and 1 extra retreat cost. I could be wrong. Maybe Hitmonlee has a retreat cost of 2. I don't know. Yeah, we also have this. We already have this card, I feel like. You know, does this Hitmonlee at home? I don't know. You be the judge. Here's Phalanx. Coordinated unit. If you have another Phalanx in play, this Pokemon's attack do 20 more damage. We saw this from the teaser. We already talked about it. If we were to have gotten a Phalanx EX, keep in mind this card would not work. This ability would not work with Phalanx EX. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind there, but a very interesting card. I don't think it's that bad. Cornerstone Mask Orgrippon. It's called Cornerstone Mask. I forgot about that. Fighting type, 40 damage, 1 fighting, 1 colorless. Flip a coin. If heads, during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes minus 100 damage from attacks. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea there, but that is a card. One of the cards of all time. Now we're into the dark Pokemon, which are probably pretty good. I forget, but these are probably pretty good cards. Alolan Meowth. How long is this video going? We have like an hour? Shout out, dude. Shout out to you watching this video right now. Alolan Meowth, 60 HP, Swagger, flip a coin. If heads, discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Okay, Alolan Persian, 40, filler. Alolan Grimer, filler card. Alolan Muck. Here we are. Let's get into the old spicy stuff here. Power of Alchemy ability. Basic Pokemon in play. Both yours and your opponent's have no abilities. Hashtag Suicune RIP. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone's really going to be playing Alolan Muck in the face of Suicune, but it is there. It is a card that will turn off Suicune, which is cool. This will also turn off Oricorio. Keep in mind, this ability does actually work on the bench. I, for some reason, just didn't think it would, but it does. You can have this on the bench, and it just turns off basic Pokemon abilities, which is crazy. So no Oricorio, no Suicune, no... what other basic Pokemon have abilities in the game? I don't know. Can anybody think of any? I can't off the top of my head, but playing Alolan Muck on the bench, that's a strong effect. If you're not playing basic Pokemon, this is a very strong effect as like a bench sitting Pokemon. So shout out to Alolan Muck. Shout out to it. Very interesting to see. Galarian Zigzagoon here, 60 HP, Dig Claws 20. We were curious about Zigzagoon and Linoon because Galarian Obstagoon and Pierre's is going to be an archetype that people try and play. I think it's more rage bait than anything, but it is interesting. These cards don't really do anything. 20 into 40 is not too bad, actually, but you're probably just going to rare candy into Obstagoon anyway. If you don't know what this card does, it does 50 morph. It has any damage onto it, which is 130 for 2 dark energies. It's kind of like Hydreigon, but not as good, but it does have a broken supporter card, which can discard 2 energies from your opponent's active if Obstagoon's in your active spot, which is pretty cool. Here's Stunky. And here's Scun Tank. Yeah, Scun Tank. Smoke Screenshot. 70 damage during your opponent's next turn. If the defending Pokemon tries to use an attack, your opponent flips the coin. If it fails, the attack doesn't have any. Yeah, we've seen those cards before. New Spiritomb with an ability. Let's see. So 70 HP Dark type basic. Retreat cost of 1. Spooky Shot. So the attack is real bad. 30 for double colorless. But what's the ability here? Final Scream. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, do 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Okay. All right. So this is like a Spiritomb that has the ability as the attack of the other Spiritomb, but you, of course, don't ever need to attach energies to the Spiritomb, which is interesting. You know, you could Poison Barb this thing, or you could Rocky Helmet this thing, and they KO it, they take 20, and then all of their Pokemon take 10. This is not a bad card. This is actually going to be kind of annoying in a lot of decks. Like, I could see this being meta because, again, like if you have to KO it, if you have no other option, then you're setting up basically a Cyrus play for everything on your board, right? Which is an interesting thing. This is not a bad card, I feel like. Better than like the rough skin type abilities that we've had in the past. So a very interesting ability here. Although I do think that anything with the Protective Poncho tool card that we talked about earlier will be protected from Final Scream. Lipard here. Fasten Claws, 30 damage, flip a coin of heads, 30 more. They make so many of these types of cards. Flip a coin of heads, look at the random card from your opponent's hand and shuffle it into their deck. Okay. Sure. Scraggy and Scrafty, Gen 5 GOAT. The best games. People are just going to be so mad. I'm going to get so many comments being like, why is this guy just gassing up Unova like every Pokemon? I don't know why I do it. It's just the truth. You know, all I can do is speak the truth. Crush the Weak is the attack name. 50 damage. If this Pokemon has more energy attached than your opponent's active Pokemon, you deal 100. All right. More filler. We are getting a new Guzzlord, a non-EX Guzzlord. 150 HP, 4 energies in the attack cost. Break Core. Flip a coin. If heads, discard your opponent's active Pokemon. This discards it. It doesn't even knock it out. This card. No, we're not going to play this card. This card's bad. It is a single prize Pokemon that has 150 HP. So I mean, theoretically, you can just play it to just be there. It could just sit there in the active. If this was like Genetic Apex days, this card would see play just because of the HP pool. Yeah, I don't think you're ever. I don't think we're playing this. I don't know how we would play it, but interesting. I guess you could Lusamine to it. So like there is an ability. You do technically have the possibility to get this thing set up with like a Lusamine if something goes down. So it is possible to get this thing set up. I just don't know if and why we're doing that. Let's get into the Steel/Dragon Pokemon all on one page here. Galarian Meowth / yeah, here it is. Galarian Berserker, guys. Keep in mind, Metal Core Barrier is coming. That tool card here. However, you got to remember, Metal Core Barrier discards after the turn you use it. It only is like a 1-turn effect. So reduce it by 50, then you discard the tool card. Galarian Berserker here, Steel-type Pokemon. It reads, Dig Up is the ability. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may put 2 random Pokemon tool cards from your discard pile into your hand. All right. Here we are. Here we are with immediately the opportunity to use Metal Core Barrier for 6 turns. So, if you're playing Metal Core Barrier with Galarian Berserker, that is a total, theoretically, guys, that is a total of 300 damage reduction throughout the game. That's on top of any other damage reduction stuff which you might be playing. This has a lot of potential, guys. Like, I feel like they've... And I kind of made fun of Metal and Steel type for so long because all the cards were the same. They were just damage reduction. It was Steelix and Probopass and Skarmory and stuff. And it was like, all right, I get it. You know what I mean? Like they take less damage. Like, cool. Now they're like Metal Core Barrier, Berserker Loop, -50 every turn. Skarmory's another example. Like, so it's crazy. The opportunity now to play against a Steel Pokemon and deal like 5 damage not even like 20 damage every turn for the rest of the game. Like you gotta hit, like you're gonna have to hit for a lot of damage to get over some of these steel type Pokemon. It's kind of scary. A lot of people are looking at Mega Mawile right now, but I would stress you to potentially look into the past. You know, just look backwards a little bit and think about Skarmory with that supporter card. Think about Mega Steelix, you know, think about it. Consider it potentially. What else do we got? I guess we have Probopass, which is, no one's playing Probopass, but you know, think of it, it is a thing. Mawile will be able to get the plus 20 from the Stadium card as well, which is 190 plus Metal Core Booster, which is going to be pretty cool. So there's a lot of potential for Mawile to be very, very annoying. But if you are playing Galarian Berserker, that means that you can get Repelled / Sabrina'd, which is going to definitely knock down your damage pretty significantly. We are getting a non-EX Mawile, and then of course Mawile EX, here it is. We all know and love it. There you go. Excadrill, 120, 80 for 3. Absolute garbage, never mind. Gen 5 GOAT, best card in the game. Pharaoh Seed, also Gen 5 GOAT here. Why did they give us all of these Gen 5 Pokemon, but not just make it a Gen 5 say? You know, that's what the people want. That's what the people want. They want the Unova expansion. Give it to us. Ferrothorn, 120, Pommel, 40, flip a coin, 60 more. Absolute goated card. Galarian Stunfisk, Snapping Trap, 40 for 2 energies during your opponent's next turn. If this Pokemon is in the active spot, when your opponent's active Pokemon retreats, it does 40 to the new active. So, okay, so like 40 to a retreat Pokemon. We've never seen that before. Interesting. A new Honedge, Doublade, and a new Aegislash. This one here, Superb Shield, 140, 3 metal energies, 80 damage during your opponent's next turn. This Pokemon takes minus 80 damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. Excuse me, I burped as I said that. Pokemon EX, so minus 80? I mean, yeah, I mean, Hydreigon is around. I mean, so, yeah, I don't know. Metal Core Barrier, you know, there's potential here for Aegislash to kind of just beat a lot of decks, but it's going to be kind of awkward, you know. Anyway, it's here. 3 metal as well, you know, it's kind of sketch. We have a new Bagon card, a new Shelgon with fire and water, and then we have a new Salamence card. Shout out to Salamence. If we ever get a Mega Salamence, it'll probably be pretty broken, but Salamence here, 150 HP, Dragon type, fire, water, colorless, Dragon Dive, 150. Flip a coin if tails, the Pokemon, or this Pokemon, also does 50 to itself. All right, so... okay. I mean, 150 for 3, it's water, it's fire. You know, it's doable. We do have Magby, we do have Mantike. And again, you could play any other energy type in the deck. So, like, there is the ability to use the new Juggler card. I don't think this would be my prime target for Juggler, but, you know, you can hit for 150. Yeah, man, they just cannot make Dragon cards worth playable for the life of them. It's kind of crazy. Let's get into the colorless Pokemon because this will be the end of the Pokemon here. And then we'll wrap up this long video. We have Meowth. We do have a Meowth card here with the ability 50 HP, so this is Lissia searchable. Retreat cost of 1 here. Carefree Steps. If any damage is done to this Pokemon by attacks, flip a coin. If heads, prevent that damage. Okay, all right. So, you know, this is potentially a Pokemon that just is safe. Like, that's kind of crazy if you think about it. This card's crazy. Also, 1 card or 1 energy draw card, just like the other Meowth. But now this one just effectively is immune half the time. So they just immediately buffed the old Meowth from like Genetic Apex, which is pretty funny. I mean, I could see this card seeing play. I really could. I mean, like some decks will probably benefit from playing this card, and sometimes it's never going to get KO'd, which is hilarious. Oh yeah, baby, Mega Kangaskhan. Let's take a look here at normal Kangaskhan. Steady Punch 60, flip a coin if heads. This attack does 30 more damage, 3 colorless. Let's just talk about Mega Kangaskhan here, because, you know, before you evaluate this card, just for a moment, sit back and understand. This is a basic colorless Mega, which means immediately kind of broken, right? I mean, 180 HP as well. Like, what are we doing? Yeah. So again, like, you can play this in any deck, any way you want. It's basic, it's colorless, it's Mega. You can play the new Stadium, actually have 200 HP, and then you can play Giant Cape, and then you have 220 HP. You can play Heavy Helmet on it if you wanted to, retreat cost of 3. It is weak to fighting, which is a good thing because no one plays fighting. Let's take a look at the attack here. 3 colorless energies, really not that big of a deal when you consider all of the ways to generate energies, including all of the baby Pokemon. which is pretty funny. This also works with Juggler. Like if you're just playing a bunch of different energy types, like there's definitely an ability there to just move the energies to Mega Kangaskhan. Like you can just Juggler and immediately get all your energies onto Mega Kangaskhan, which is quite frankly very hilarious to set this thing up in one turn potentially, which would be really funny. Like if you ever had, and the reason why Juggler is going to be good with Mega Kangaskhan is because like, imagine like you have the babies, but like you don't have Mega Kangaskhan. So when you go to use the baby's attack, you don't really have Kangaskhan to attach the energies to. But that's probably fine, right? That's not a big deal because if we can Juggler later in the game, then we can just move those energies. So it's interesting. There's going to be weird combos. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. 3 colorless energies, double punching family, 80 damage. This attack is used twice in a row. The second attack does 40 damage. Okay, so how does this work, I guess? So 80 and then 40, but it attacks twice. What if I used like red? Like what if I just used red and then attacked? Do I get double red buff on both attacks? Does that work that way? I'm trying to think if any card in the game is buffing the damage of Mega Kangaskhan, which I don't know if we have that. I don't think we have anything that can buff the damage from like basic Pokemon, but like theoretically, if we just had a card that was like your colorless Pokemon deal 10 plus damage, I think that 10 damage will proc every time you attack. I don't know if red works that way because it says this attack is used twice in a row. I don't know. I'd have to read like red and narrow that down. I would be surprised if red proc twice because quite frankly, that would be kind of ridiculous. Then you'd hit for 160. But this is 120 damage. Right here it says, if the first attack knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon, the second attack is used after your opponent chooses a new active Pokemon. Now, this is really relevant because you can KO 2 Pokemon technically in one turn, is what this means, basically. So it's only 120 damage, which is fine. It will KO a lot of Pokemon, but again, this is colorless, it's basic, it's crazy. I think this has potential here. I don't know. Is there any way to boost the damage here? I feel like this is a card that is, likely going to just probably benefit from something. I just don't know what it is yet, or if we have that yet in the game. But because this is a basic and it's colorless and it's got 180 HP, it's going to be relevant. Like you can play this in any way you want, which is pretty funny. The attack isn't too broken to me, but it is definitely good because if you can just like KO a Chingling, then you can get 40 damage off for free on anything else, and nothing in the game can do that. If you ever overhit, you don't just get to deal like more damage, which is pretty funny. So, if you carry that 40 damage over, that's pretty relevant because then it's 40 plus 120 if you attack it again, which is 160. So there's some potential there. We'll have to see how the damage buffs interact with Mega Kangaskhan, but it's a very interesting card. Sentret here evolves into Furret here. Shout out to Tilly. Furret is his favorite Pokemon of all time. We also have Smeargle here with the Portrait ability. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may look at a random supporter card from your opponent's hand and use the effect of that card as the effect of this ability. Okay. So again, this card is crazy, dude. Like, are we not? Sorry, my headphone fell out. Are we not just playing this like in every deck? Like, I just don't know. What are the odds that like your opponent doesn't have like a copycat or a research in their hand? Probably pretty low. No, or just like a Pokemon Center lady or like a Sabrina or a like the fact that you can just sort of use 2 supporter cards in one turn is effectively pretty broken, especially for the cost of just not like doing anything, like just having a Pokemon in the active. You know what I mean? Like Rocky Helmet Smeargle is kind of crazy, dude. I might be just off the walls here, but I really think the Smeargle card is broken. I don't know. We're going to have to play this and test, but I feel like going first, getting double researches is going to be hilarious. This card's going to be super troll. Very good card in my mind. Maybe I'm just missing some other interaction with it, but that seems good. Lugia here. Randomly, Lugia's in here, dealing 80 damage for 4 colorless. Flip 2 coins, 40 more. Okay. Talo and then Swellow. Stage 1 colorless. Repelling Wind. Once during your turn, you may switch out your opponent's active basic Pokemon to the bench. Okay, so it's an ability on a stage 1 Pokemon that is Sabrina, but only for basic Pokemon. So it's repel. So it's a repel ability. It's repel. We have that. It's a repel. So repel in the form of a stage 1 Pokemon ability. Not bad. Slackoth here, Vigoroth here, and Slacking. Now let's take a look at Slacking because, and Spinda. I think both of these cards are kind of meant to be played with the new Ogerpon card. Slacking, 160 HP, colorless, stage 2, 3 colorless energies in the attack cost, 150, and discard a random energy from this Pokemon. As long as this Pokemon's in the active spot, whenever you attach an energy from your energy zone to it, it is now asleep. So if we play Ogerpon with it, it never falls asleep, and it just is a basic 3 energies, 150. A really not a bad card. This is something that could be very similar to Hydreigon, but you're going to have to play babies with it to get it set up. Interesting. A very interesting card here. Quite frankly, kind of scary. Definitely not bad. Spinda here does 40 and confuses itself, but 40 for one colorless, with Ogerpon's really not that bad, right? Just 40 right off the bat. It's like Farfetch'd, but we have 20 more HP, but you have to play Ogerpon with it. I don't know. The art is incredible. Tornadus, basic, 90 HP, colorless, double colorless energy, blow through, 40 damage. If a stadium's in play, you deal 40 more. So 80 for 2 if you have a stadium in play. That's all right. Like if it's a basic, so you can have 110 HP on it with the new stadium card. Not too bad. Bunnelby, Diggersby, Earthquake 70 also does 10 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. All right. We have a new Furfrou, which also takes 20 less damage from attacks, but it does 70 for 3 energies. Yeah, I don't know about Furfrou here. I don't know if we're playing Furfrou. I think we're probably playing just the other one. The one that just does 30 for 1. I don't know why you would ever play this, but whatever. Mousehold. We have seen Mousehold already, so flip a coin for each Tandemaus and Mousehold you have in play. 60 for each head, so 1 energy, potentially 120. Kind of a meme card, but interesting for sure. Definitely interesting. I think that's it. Because next up, these are all the shinies, by the way, coming in the set. Doesn't this seem like a lot? Like, this is like a weird mix of like, it's not as big as 2 packs, but it's like 1.5 packs. It's weird. Interesting. We are getting some shinies here, including Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. Clefable, Omastar, Kabutops, Tauros, Magmar, Shiny Flareon, and Shiny Sylveon. I know people are going to be definitely interested in that Sylveon card. Shiny Magby, Shiny Magby, as well as Shiny Pichu and Mantike. Okay, so the babies are getting shinies. The babies are getting shiny Pokemon. Those are going to be hype to pull. Shiny Espeon as well. Shiny Donphan and Umbreon. And Ho-Oh and Lugia are getting shinies as well. Okay. It's crazy how far we've come that these Pokemon, which seem pretty new, are all getting shiny Pokemon. But I guess they've been out for quite some time. And Latios, and Tyrogue. Okay. Kingdra. I didn't know shiny Kingdra was purple. But there you go. That's all the Pokemon, folks. That is the video. This was a long one, about an hour and 11 minutes. But you know what? We just ship it. At the moment, right now, it's almost 11 p.m. And I'm just going to upload this raw. I'm going to just spin up a thumbnail and here you go. Enjoy it. So, guys, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this. Tomorrow, since we have all of the cards, I might do some like sneaky deck building videos. I don't know what we're going to do, but we are going to go live tomorrow night for the official set release, so that live stream will be hyped. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, definitely stay tuned. And also, guys, go and register for PMPT number 18, our weekly Pokemon Pocket Tournament Series, the largest weekly tournament series in Pokemon Pocket, as well as $250 cash in the prize pool this week, the first tournament of the new metagame and of the new season after our invitational here. You guys know what it's all about. Hit the subscribe button. Let's get to 50K subscribers. Let me go to bed here. Why did I record this video? Why is it so long? And why am I here right now? I have a dentist appointment in literally like 8 hours. So wish me luck, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Peace out. Goodbye. Bye.